Has my boyfriend slept with this woman, or is she just really desperate? Posted by coconut_tea_cakes. If you like these stories and want to see more, please like and subscribe. My boyfriend and I met roughly 3 years ago. We were casual, as in seeing other people, for the first year, after which I agreed to be his girlfriend after being asked out numerous times by him. That first summer, about 6 months after we met, he took me to a pool party at his friend's place. They are a married couple with 2 young boys. I instantly noticed a vibe between my boyfriend and the wife. Let's call her Sandra. At one point, she put on a 90s R&B song on a portable speaker and said, "Tim, this is for you." The song lyrics went something like "Nobody will love you like I do." As the song played, she slathered sunscreen all over her body as my BF watched. I was at a distance, watching them. At the time, because I didn't have any feelings for him, I thought to myself, these 2 used to bang and moved on. As my BF and I got serious, I started noticing things between him and Sandra more. The next summer, when we were already official, year 1 of dating, we once again visited their house for my BF's birthday party, which they hosted. When it was time to get the cake, I had to go get it in the basement, and Sandra followed me. Down there, she leaned her arm against the wall in a blocking fashion and started literally interrogating me with questions. How old are you? Does Tim want to have kids? What are your plans? I was very put off by this, but being at least 11 years younger than her and also in her house, I thought I'd just be courteous and answer the questions. She finally let me pass her when she got the answers she wanted. That same summer, we visited them one night for Canada Day. All of us got tipsy, and at one point, I was sitting in between my BF and Sandra, BF to the right of me and Sandra to the left. At one point, Sandra leaned over me, poked her hand into my BF's chest and said, "Tim, look at me." "No, look at me. I love you." He didn't respond and seemed uncomfortable, but for some reason, I think he didn't respond only because I was there. It's odd because just recently, I had a conversation with my BF about what he thinks love is. He's never said he loves me, by the way, but I have told him that I do, and he pointed to his chest, the same place that Sandra poked that night, and said, "It's just a feeling, you can't describe it." So he's never told me he loves me, but his best female friend has poked him in his chest one time saying those exact words to him, and now he's showing me that gesture? Odd. Still that same summer, she and her family, husband and 2 kids, randomly showed up at our house one Sunday. My BF was showing her the upstairs floor when I barely heard her say, "So this is the part where I pretend that I haven't seen this before." To my knowledge, she has never been to our house. It's also important to note that she's been married 10 plus years. Again, a little odd to hear that. Also, there was a moment of silence upstairs, and then she apparently went into our bathroom, and the BF came back down. When he came down, he very subtly licked his lips. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but I did. Fast forward to this summer, year 2 of us being official. We came to their house yet again for another pool party. There, she looked visibly uncomfortable being around me, and I could hear her talking trash about me with all her female friends. Things like, "I can't figure out if she's old or young," and other things that made all the females that day steer clear of me. She always seemed insecure around me, but this time she seemed extra insecure. Also, after numerous fights about her, I noticed my BF behaved very differently around her. Barely gave her the time of day, which seemed to bother her, as she continuously tried to grab his attention. His attention was directed onto me. I thought to myself, finally, he's behaving how he's supposed to. It only took 3 years. I have a friend like Sandra myself, let's call him Tony. Tony and I have known each other for 12 plus years, and we've also hooked up a couple of times. Every time we're around each other, we have the exact same vibe, comfortable, with inside jokes and lots of sexiness. I will note that before we ever hooked up, our flirting was even more through the roof, much like Sandra's is with my BF. It was relentless. I'm mentioning this because maybe my BF and Sandra just have lots of sexual tension that has been building for years. My question is, do you guys think my BF and Sandra have hooked up, want to hook up, Or has he always just paid her lots of attention and isn't now since he has a long-term GF, which bothers her? He has never had a GF for longer than 6 months. I am his first serious relationship. I am also 11 to 12 years younger than my BF and all his friends, including Sandra. I have a feeling she might be jealous towards my youth and looks. The vibe she gives off is very cringed, and she only seems to do that around my BF. It's a desperate, old married woman vibe. A woman that needs to know she's still got it, so she throws herself at her male friends to see if they'll give her attention. It's quite sad. TLDR, my BF's female best friend acts very inappropriately around my BF. Did they sleep together, or is she just desperate? And now for the top comments. Yes, they hooked up, and if I was his GF and confirmed this eventually, I'd feel compelled to let her husband know because odds are they had an affair while she was with her, so she's trashy. They definitely have something going on, and if not, this woman is trying to get with your man. I would very much tell my boyfriend to cut all contact with that woman because the way she's acting around his significant other, you, is very inappropriate, sexual, and unnecessary. She's a grown married woman with children who are trying to home wreck. Nah, bad situation. Cut all ties with that woman, and if your boyfriend refuses to, I will cut him off as well. Honestly, I don't understand why you let it go for this long. They obviously had or have a thing going on. Maybe her husband is a cuck if she's doing it so obviously, and her husband says nothing. She definitely doesn't like you because she's jealous. I don't understand why you stay with him when he entertains the behavior and does nothing to stop it. Why can't he just outright say, "I have a girlfriend, can you please stop being inappropriate?" What I don't get about adults is they still play these little kid games. Who are these people, really? Why are they so important to keep in your lives when they are so clearly disrespectful? Honestly, if people would just speak their minds when things happen, this would be a far better world instead of always keeping our mouths shut and being polite. Also, why don't you ever say anything? Do you like being disrespected in your own house? Well, good luck, and I hope you all start being verbal instead of doing this passive-aggressive high school drama. Speak up, you're an adult, demand respect, or walk away. And now for our next story. Did he cheat? Posted by Psycho303. Did he cheat? Honestly, I know the answer, but I think as part of processing what has happened, I need to have validation. I, 36F, have been with my fiancé, 32 meters, for over 2 years. He's got some emotional stunting but has always tried and received my requests for work. Well, I have worked with my therapist on really clear boundaries to place when things become escalated and unproductive. Now for the event. I put my dog to sleep Friday evening, had to register his car, DMV hassle, and find auto parts for a friend's vehicle. He bought dinner, and we snuggled into Saturday. I woke up to him playing video games and asked if he wanted a bagel sandwich. After we ate, we started getting intimate, and I asked him to stop because he was a little too rough. He stopped and started knocking stuff over because he was intoxicated. He polished at least half a fifth. He spilt my coffee on pictures of my children, to which I said, "Be careful, I cannot replace those." Then, he went on a 10-minute rant on why I'm horrible. He called me every name. Said I was a cheater. Meanwhile, I'm calmly asking him to leave. He finally leaves, and I go about my Saturday. 30 minutes in, he tells me his parents have no food and we should grocery shop. I said it was on my agenda and I would go by myself. More time elapses, and he sends me a text saying he ordered pizza. I said, I'm okay, and was going to get my stuff done. Several hours go by, and I assume he's sober, and we can talk next steps. I call, and he answers, and I ask if he's ready to talk. He responded by saying he's not to blame for anything and comfortable at his parents' home. I said okay and hung up. My bestie had a similar day, so I picked her up, and we strolled Target. Go to my house, chat and drink cream soda. 11 p.m. I drive her home. I return and go to bed. I wake up and shower, ready to conquer the day and can't stop ruminating on the punitive silence from my fiancé. I call him with no answer. Wait and call again, no answer. I contacted his mother and asked if he was okay. She tells me he went to hang out with a guy friend. The guy is married and isn't the dude hangout type. So, I immediately reminded her he was not the guy. She responded with, "That's what he said when she called." I'm triggered and now reminded of my ex-husband's non-stop mental abuse and infidelity. I text him and say we need to talk, or I'll assume all bets are off. Finally, I got a text from my fiancé saying 5 minutes, and he will call. 30 goes by. Finally, he calls. I ask where he is, and he says at his parents' home. I said that wasn't the case minutes earlier. I asked who picked him up and what did he do. Our mutual female friend picked him up because he called her because he was drunk and needed cigarettes. He claims he got cigarettes at a neighborhood market and went to her home to hang out. He passed out and woke up Sunday morning to discover he had 1% battery life and had her drive him home. Nothing beyond cigarettes and visiting happened is what he claims. Folks have read it, did he cheat? And now for the top comments. I can't say if he's cheating on you or not, but this man treats you horribly, even if he was drunk. He got mad because you told him to stop because he was being too rough with you. He then accidentally spilt coffee on pictures of your children, and when you told him to be careful, he called you every name in the book, called you a cheater and went on a 10-minute rant about how horrible you are. He then not only lied to you but also to his mother about his whereabouts and spent the night at another female house. All these just a couple of days after you had to put your dog to sleep? It seems like there are more issues here than him just spending the night at another female house. Is this the kind person you want to marry and spend the rest of your life with? Do not marry this guy. You will be sorry. I don't know if he cheated or not, but he needs to go. He's an abusive jerk. What's your say on this? Do you have a similar story? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.